buddy. Come around, buddy. Hey, buddy. What do you think, buddy? What do you think, buddy? In the water, buddy. Okay. Hey, buddy. All of YouTube is a stage. We are merely players. We're going to take a little different way to like dissect and understand my little adventure down there in South Carolina. Let's go. There we go. That's a little better. In this video, we're going to look at a couple of different my trip in a couple of different ways. Okay, we're going to look at this is like an abstract type map. Okay, which it doesn't really exactly like follow the shape of reality, but it's pretty much shows like the connections between things. So it's just that crystalline abstract view that helps you just get a solid grounding, a feeling that you really understand the structure. But then we're going to go to from this map to actually like a regular flat map of the area. You can see how this shows actually the different spots that are all like these pink spots here, drawn with just straight lines. But then here, this is where they really are in reality. So those are the different places up to this beach in Georgetown, and then this is more. And then we can even look at it in a 3D view to even get a better idea of it. You know, so now we're going from like the abstract to even like the more like what we call like more true to life, and then we can get even more true to life by then showing a video. So anyway, so just have fun. We're going to learn a lot of interesting information and have fun in a way that you aren't going to see on most channels. This is a tide chart here. And this kind of explains, I don't know, it's kind of mesmerizing to watch. And then you think about it, because this is the area of tides, the Prince of Tides, you know, down there in Charleston area. And you can just see that these bulges that are created by these bulges, the red ones are the bulges, and the depressions are the blue ones, how they just bounce around. And certainly there's a lot of action all up along this coast here, you know, but anyway, not so much in the Gulf. They're not near as much tide there, but anyway, but that's just something to think about. So we started down at Folly Beach, and what we're going to do is the number here is going to show the different stops. Now this isn't necessarily going to be in order when I show the video, but basically I'm splitting it up, going up the coast here, starting down at Folly Beach and ended up there at Pawley's Island up at the top here. And we're going to focus on telling you a little bit about the dog rules at each beach, you know. So it's just, it turns out that Charleston and maybe the Atlantic in general seems like it's pretty friendly for dogs. So I would recommend like the Charleston area, especially in the winter. You're really doing good with your dog. But there's even some pretty, even in the summer, it's, you know, not too bad. So this Folly Beach is down in this area here. Okay, so just to take a look here. So down here, here's Charleston. So it's, and this is called James Island here, okay? And the place I've always gone is the county park. There's also like the downtown, like the boardwalk and all that stuff. Yeah, here's a better shot of the county park here, but okay, there's Folly Beach down there, and across there you can see Charleston, and then further down the coast this way. Let's just get a little closer here real quick. Folly Beach County Park. But yeah, I mean, but a lot of people go down there, and I think that's where the surfing is down in these areas. More like, actually, I don't think you can actually swim in this area probably. So anyway, you know, so my dog really liked it, as you can see. Really had a fun time. And basically, okay, so during the summer hours, which I was there during the winter, but no dogs during this time, and then on leash other times. Okay, so that's kind of strict, but at least you do have like the morning and the afternoon where you could do it, you know. And then but then during the winter it's just on leash all the time, you know. So, you know, now you can see we kind of broke that rule a little bit, but it was the spirit of the law. I mean, if there's like nobody around for like 1,000 yards, I mean, I think it's okay to like let them off the leash for a second, or actually you'll see it in the video. And it has a nice like marshy area behind the thing that's neat to watch, like the tides and stuff. And then, you know, just a lot of, you know, it's just a really peaceful, nice beach. Okay, so anyway, now it's probably not the ultimate dog beach, but it is pretty good. But anyway, some shells there. Make sure you know where your campground is, like up here. Okay, Sarge, first time at the ocean ever. What do you think, buddy? All right, buddy. Up the ocean, buddy. What do you think, buddy? Okay, he's not too interested in the ocean. He's more interested in whatever he's sniffing this direction. Maybe he knows instinctively, you know, that he can't drink in this stuff. Oh, he's still an energetic boy. Right, Sargy Boo? Joining the beach, big buddy? Me and Sarge here, back by this marshy area back here, behind the sand dune ridge here, in Folly Beach. And now, okay, I was looking at it. It looks like this area must get flooded, although it during the high tide. Although it looks like maybe it doesn't get flooded as much. It might be a little intermittent, depending. But yeah. Okay, after a long walk, left Sarge back in the car up here at the beach house here. Folly Beach during the off season and during kind of a cold day. So yeah, so pretty empty. I'm sure this is about as empty as you probably ever see it. Now I guess as the day goes on, it'll probably, the parking lot will start filling up here. But you know, anyway, yeah. So although I was here the other day at like 3 or 4 o'clock and it wasn't that busy either. So yeah, so this is probably the time I'd enjoy being here, when it's kind of cold and kind of being from Minnesota, and then kind of off season, we're not as many people. Yeah. Anyway, just kind of like that peaceful feeling up here, you know. Oh, you know, I was assuming you couldn't have dogs up here, but I didn't actually see a sign. I'm assuming you couldn't, which was only because I was trying to think if I could park over here and then walk over to the beach. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Me and Sarge coming back out to the beach. We were hanging out in the car for a while. This bird's been hanging around me for a while, eating some food there. It's like he moved from, it was in that ditch there, now he's over there, so I don't know if that indicates maybe the water is getting deeper here, so you know. Yeah, good to finally have some sun today, huh? Okay, see, those are just waves. That's not. Okay, what does it see? Okay, I'm gonna go get my feet wet again in this mud again, but it's for the YouTube. I don't know what he's eating there. He just, I think he found something. The lone bird. My YouTube companion here. Oh, ooh, that's nice. I wonder what that is. Ooh. you gotta do a little filming sitting on the sand dune for a little bit here. Go down a second after it flows and starts flowing a little more. And then we went up to this. So taking a look here, and this is actually on James Island. Now, yeah, by the way, we're gonna have this blue thing whenever we cross, kind of like a notable body of water, fairly big water. Okay, then there's this MP Demeter Park's a neat park that I didn't actually stop there this time, but was one of my favorite places from before, and I do have some older videos showing that. This is MP Demeter Park. It's a nice free place to hang out on the bay here. It's right across from the city there on the bay here. And anyway, it's a nice area there. And then going up here, number 3 is this Lagrange Bridge, which is this bridge separating like James Island from Charleston Peninsula, and goes across the Ashley River. This is a bridge across the Ashley River. There's Charleston right there. There's the other bridge going across the Cooper River there. And yeah, it's a nice area over here. Okay, and then there's the city. Then you go across here, and of course there's the Ravenel Bridge here, which I went across. And then there's downtown Charleston, which I didn't really go, but the last time, that much this time, but in other years I had gone there a lot. This is downtown Charleston, and that's Mount Pleasant over there, and there's the Ravenel Bridge that will get you over there. This is like the 4th time I've been to Charleston, so it's getting to be almost like a home where I didn't have to go to every single place like again, you know, but this Ravenel Beach is one of the best drives across, you know, and it's like, you can see this. Here's a Ravenel Bridge. There's Charleston, the dock facilities back there. There's the ocean, and you can see over there, like right about there, that's that Shem Creek where we're going to be going to next. There's a Yorktown. You can see like the ports over here, like all the container ports way up here in North Charleston. You can see the Yorktown here, and the water taxi. I really recommend that. I didn't do that this time, but that takes you all along that entire harbor, goes up right next to the aircraft carrier. Then within the aircraft carrier, I went to that, and one of my old videos shows that. And one of the things they have in there is this Medal of Honor museum in there. Me and Sarge in Mount Pleasant right now, South Carolina, which is really just like the big suburban part of Charleston, basically. You know, it's because the city of Charleston itself is obviously on a really narrow peninsula, not much on it, you know, so it's more like the more spread out. I mean, I guess there's other parts like North Charleston, some other parts, but it's probably kind of like the main, it's kind of like a world of its own, you know. You probably just, most of all the shopping and needs over here in Mount Pleasant usually, so okay, so now we're going onto the bridge. I guess we'll just go do a quick maybe tour through the island, the peninsula a little bit. Yeah. Get a better camera. Okay, there's it's a tall bridge. Oh. Well, since this one's not a drawbridge, obviously you could have like a shorter bridge, a bridge that wasn't so high if it was a drawbridge. But okay, so there's most of all the port stuff all at the top of the town. Oh, maybe we'll have to see about, what do you think, Sarge, about going on the water taxi? I'll have to see, because I know you can take a dog on a water taxi. There's the USS York there, Yorktown, which I went on last time I was here. Or maybe not the last time, but one of the times I was here. Anyway. Nice big estuary out there. Port stuff. Land of tides. everything here. If I had some kind of like dash cam or something, but anyway, all right, I'll take off for a second. Okay, so let's go now. After the Revenue Bridge, so Mount Pleasant's one of the main areas I would hang out, especially when I was camping up like in that area up there, Honey Hill for a while. I would come down to Mount Pleasant, kind of like sometimes go to Charleston, basically kind of go between there and camp there at night. Although I'll tell you later on, that campsite became kind of hard at times to find a spot. So anyway, so I ended up switching. But anyway, one of the areas I liked was this Shem Creek Park, which was kind of like this area where they did a lot of shrimping and stuff. But it's also a nice like tidal boardwalk. It had like this place you could stop with the dog and this is Shem Creek Park. You can go across the boardwalk here. There's the shrimping boats and everything. There was like the little area there, a little oasis of trees where I wanted to go down there and just hang out for a while with my dog, make sure to bring water, and then sometime and wait for the tide to come in. I guess I'll have to wait till I go there next time again to do that. But anyway, center there, so it was kind of nice. So it was that was a nice place. I would have liked to maybe spend more time, kind of maybe staking out like a spot maybe in the, maybe coming up with a place I can kind of stay in the shade with the dog and then kind of like stay there for a while with like water and stuff and watch for like the tide coming in. Maybe that's something to do next time. Okay, walking across this boardwalk here, and now there's not really a good place for like a dog to go to the bathroom, but when we get to the end of this park here, there's a tree area down there. So anyway, maybe it was. I don't know if there was. It looked like the closest place to park was up. That was the official parking. So I don't know if there was any actual free parking that was any closer along here. So anyway, but yeah, it looks like you can see the tide is flowing that way. Yeah, so this park is known for shrimping. You got the shrimp boats, and then this is the off season though, so they're just parked right now, it looks like. And then it's also known for a good place to see the tides, which, let's see, yeah, so you can see the tide is going. So the tide must, yeah, that must where, okay, yeah, that must be where it connects with the ocean, with the bay there. And then yeah, so you can see the tide flowing up here. See that? Okay. Okay, yeah, so here me and Sarge down at this kind of like little shady area on the way to the pier here. So this is like a fishing pier and stuff, At least there's like a little halfway point to like stop to go. Yeah. Okay, yeah, here's all the shrimping boats here. Anyway, yeah, then here's all the shrimping boats here. And I don't really know anything about shrimping at this point, but anyway, but that's what the boats look like. Okay. 2 hours before, I guess 2 hours after, you'll see a lot of flow the other way, obviously. So I don't know if I'm not sure if they actually, if a lot of the shrimping is on the creek, or maybe what they're saying, maybe originally that's where they started doing it, but then they probably had to go out in the ocean. Oh, is that shrimp down there? Okay, like dead shrimp or something, I don't know. Anyway, well, some kind of dead fish, there's always some kind of. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, buddy. Okay, me and Sarge just taking a little break for the boardwalk to do a little dirt stuff. Now it looks like this area probably is going to get covered with the tide when it comes in. I'm guessing. Feels like it's wet here, so yeah, this must be part of the tide lands. If we could stick around long enough to see this area get covered up. Buddy. Okay, see one puddle over here. And then if you come down here, now Sullivan Island Beach, and just down here from Shem Creek, we can go right over here is Sullivan Island. Okay, so this is Sullivan Island here. You can see right across here, there's the next island is the Isle of Palm. In some ways, okay, so they're the strictest one. So you have to, so if you're, okay, looks a little fuzzy here, but or it's kind of cut off, but you have to actually go there and get a permit from them, show like evidence of having rabies and stuff, and pay $50 if you even want to have your dog, like even, actually it even said something like even be on the streets of the city. So, it sounds like it's kind of like a enclave for a bunch of super rich people who don't want to, like, let anybody else have fun. So anyway, but if you do decide to get that leash, and it is kind of a scenic beach because it's right by the opening of the harbor, but you could, during the summer times, you could have some off-leash times. Okay, so yeah, and so in some ways it might be worth paying for this thing if you want to, get like it might be a little more convenient, but it's up to you. But yeah, I would probably steer clear of that. But anyway, and then Isle of Palms, they're pretty good. The next island is the Isle of Palms, which is a much more friendly location as far as dogs. I mean, as far as you don't have to get like the $50 permit or something. Isle of Palm over here. If you go down here from Isle of Palms Beach and down the Intercoastal Waterway, you'll end up hitting that Buck Hall place, which we'll go to next. Here, let's see, it's just off leash during the summer. It's just okay, yeah, 5-8, but that's okay. But being on leash is fine. And then the off leash is at 4 p.m. to 10, so a little bit extended hours during the winter. But yeah, but anyway, but as far as like, you can always have your dog there at any time. So, that's the main thing, just not showing up, not even get to even take your dog at the beach, and then thinking like, what are you going to do with him now that you're at the beach? And if it's, anyway. Yeah, and then so from there, we're going to go up to Buck Hall. But before here, we're going to look at this map here because this is kind of an important thing, at least the history buffs like myself. Highway 17, the King's Highway. So it was a historic road that went all the way up the entire East Coast. I think it was chartered by King Charles II. But anyway, it goes up here to Norfolk and it goes up. So we'll see Charleston and Georgetown and Savannah. Those, there's lots of historic things. So that's just something to remind, just kind of like that. You're riding the King's Highway, Anyway, especially when I was heading up to, I had that in my head, like the idea of ride the King's Highway from the doors. Anyway, so yeah. So anyway, but so you go up here, and now you're at Buck Hall Recreation Center. So, okay, this is the Buck Hall Recreation Area, which is on the Intercoastal Waterway. It's a boat launch, campground, and rec area, and it's part of the Francis Marion National Forest. But most of the forest is up the hills up here a little bit, and you can see that just up from the shore a little bit here. You get into those hills of the National Forest there. It's on the Intercoastal Waterway, as you can see on here. This shows like the part that goes down by like Folly Beach. Okay, so basically it's like the nice tidal marsh. It's a boat launch place. It's a good hangout. It was kind of a good hangout. It's kind of like a day use place for me when I was there before, when I was camped at like one of the campgrounds around there, and it looked like I even got a day pass, and I was kind of, so anyway, to fill up on water, take care of trash, go to the bathroom, that kind of stuff, to have a, anyway, but it's kind of nice for that, yeah, that intercoastal experience. A nice thing. There's a campground there, but I think you got to pay for parking most of the time or have a pass. I'm not sure in the winter if it looked like it was closed, or maybe I was reading the sign wrong, but anyway. So, it's part of Francis Marion National Forest. It's kind of like at the bottom of it. This is where the main area is, okay, which we'll see in a second, but yeah, this part is actually part of the Francis Marion National Forest. And I did find out that they actually, I was kind of surprised, but anyway, that was something I was discussing with the AI before, that actually they actually do have like a water source right even that close to the shore. There's actually like a well there, which I wasn't, I was kind of interested in that yeah, actually there's a lot of times you can have wells like even like, right up to the beach like that. Anyway. Okay, me and Sarge now at the Buck Hall Recreational Center, and our Buck Hall Landing is what it's called. And so there's a boat launch here, then there's campground here, paid campground. Anyway, so yeah, so this place, I think it was, when I was here before, it was like you had to like pay to park here and stuff, but maybe that was just during the summer, so maybe it's like, Yeah, maybe they don't do that during the winter time. So anyway, and but I remember last time we got like a day use pass just so we could come down here and get water and throw trash away, and we actually took some showers here because we had to kind of sneak it. But my theory was always like, hey, if you pay for that day use pass, you should get to like use all the facilities, including the showers. But you know, I don't think other people agreed. So. So this is part of the intercoastal. So if you keep going this way, past all this marsh and stuff, you'll reach the ocean eventually. I guess there is like, in this section, I don't know how many islands there are in this area, but you know, but pretty much there's these barrier islands that go up along the entire Atlantic coast, you know, where basically, you know, where you almost never just reach the ocean, you know. First of all, you've reached the barrier islands first, you know, right, buddy? Yeah, okay, he didn't seem too interested in going to the water, okay. Let's go whatever smells. Yeah, anyway. It's gotta be kind of nice for like a dog. He's someplace that's warmer for this time of year than what he's used to, and then, you know, just a different part of the country, different smells, and there's like, this is like a more sandy beach environment and stuff, and, you know, we'll be going to the real beach a little later today. Be Sarges first. And it looks like the beaches are friendly in Charleston during the winter time. They're friendly as far as bringing dogs on them, you know. So the research I did before, I'll check on it again, but you know. Hey, buddy. Yeah. Something I don't have to worry about where I live. Well, I mean, obviously out of curiosity. Okay, me and Sarge kind of starting out the day here at this Buck Hall rec area after staying at our free camping site, which is like, I don't know, about 15 minutes away from here. And then, you know, it's a good place to go to the bathroom here and stuff. And anyway, at least this time of year, you don't have to pay to be here. But, I mean, I don't know if you still have to pay or not, but I mean, you had to pay last time I was here, but I'm guessing maybe it's not during the winter. Like, anyway, so it looks like a bunch of guys in boats have gone out today. This is just a boat launch. It's a nice place on the intercoastal waterway here. Nice seagrass and all that out there. Spanish moss. Yeah, it's also, oh yeah, also the campground there too. If you wanted to pay money, you could camp down here. You know, that kind of bathroom. There's a flush toilet, obviously. Anyway, and then kind of get kind of set up for the day, then go, and then because this is like on the way to like downtown, so this is like, you know, down to Charleston or downtown, meaning either Charleston or this time, at least so far, I think the place I'm going to go is in Mount Pleasant, but you know, but anyway, more toward most of the action toward the city and stuff. So anyway, dump some trash here, but fresh water. Oh yeah, I think I also said that roughly Highway 17 here is kind of like the separation of like fresh water, and I mean, I don't know what they mean during all times or what, anyway. And anyway, then you go across here, there's this little town of Wando across the Wando River. Okay, this is Wando, South Carolina, which is just a little town that's across the Wando River, and which the Wando River goes down there and it snakes around. It connects with the port there of Charleston. Wando here is basically the gateway to the National Forest here, because you can see here that if I wanted to go to some of the campgrounds here, that I was staying at before I would start down here on this 10-mile creek road, and then it winds through the forest there for a while. There's a couple different campgrounds, which goes into the Cooper River, which goes in anyway. So it's one of the main rivers. By this point, it's gotten kind of thinner, but anyway. So if you're up in the hills here, yeah, you got the Francis Marion National Forest, which is all like basically this area up here. It's a little bit elevated here. There's a little bit of a fairly good hill. Like I think they say it's like an ancient, older shoreline up there, you know. But anyway, so yeah, so there you go. Here's the different patches in here. It basically stops here at about the Santee River, which we'll talk about the Santee River in a little bit. Here's where that other campground is, and here's that Honey Hills, more like about this area. But anyway, yeah, it's a nice forest. It's near like the populated areas, and I'll tell you, like it's I guess maybe because you're by the coast, I thought, but I was actually surprised with how bright the stars looked. I guess maybe it might have to do with when you're by the ocean, maybe because you got that whole big direction that's dark. Because I thought we were still close up to Charleston, that it would be, you know, but you know, and then and here's another map of the area of the Francis Marion National Forest. Anyway, so okay, so the first place was this Palmetto. That little loop down there, that's the Palmetto Trailhead. A few years back, you could also camp there too. So I camped there a while back, a few years ago, but now you're not allowed to camp there anymore. You can still hike through there, but anyway, but you can see that we're not that far from Charleston, but this forest is pretty big and there's not much in it. You can see it's pretty interesting here. So anyway, but that's where I camped before, but now I had to, but because I couldn't car camp there anymore, or van camp there, I had to go a little further down the road here to Honey Hill Trail, which you can see goes up Trailhead, which goes up the entire length here, and here's like about where it is on here. This was more of an interesting place for me because back in 2018 I camped there. Since then they banned car camping. I think if you get a permit, you can there's like back on the trail you can walk back, but you have to go a certain amount off the trail. So basically they want like tent camper kind of adventurers and not more like homeless or whatever, even though, you know, or even like van life people. I guess they want to make it a little harder, so it's, you know, but anyway, so that's why. So I had to start out going to this Honey Hill, which was quite a bit, you know, further away from Charleston. So the idea of going back and forth between that campground and Charleston, you know, already started to get to be not as good as it was last time I was there. And, I think there is dispersed camping in the National Forest, but I looked at, I think it does require a permit. Like a lot of them, it doesn't. So you can look into that too, about the idea of dispersed camping, which is where you just camp on some road. But so in some National Forests, you don't need like a permit. Some you do. So let's get our breath back. Yeah, anyway, so okay, that was right about where I camped last time I was down here. Now they didn't have this gate here, they didn't have this fence here, and they didn't have the sign saying no camping, although the trail is still nice back there. But as far as, yeah, you can't camp here anymore, but but that trail back there is still nice. So me and Sarge went and walked on it. I guess I should have filmed it, but might come back to it later. But yeah, it's pretty nice trail. It's one of these, especially because it'd probably be kind of buggy during like the summer, so it's nice that we are in the winter, you know, so it's kind of nicer, at least to me. Yeah, so I came to this Honey Hill, this is the Honey Hill campground, which is a nice campground, but it was kind of far from Charleston. It was getting to be too hard to drive all the way to Charleston, and plus, if you got here too late at night, you couldn't find a spot, and since I didn't like leave anything, I just kept everything self-contained in my truck. So see, it's pretty hilly here, and then there's the ocean out there, and then yeah, this way. But anyway, the Elmwood would be like in this direction. It wasn't too bad, but one thing I realized is like you were only supposed to camp at the numbered spots at this Honey Hill, and there wasn't enough of them, you know. Basically they kind of limited it. So basically it was like, if you didn't get there, like, you know, it was always like, if you get there at 9 o'clock, you might not find a camp spot. So it kind of got kind of, you know. Sargie, come here, buddy. Look at the leash. Come here, buddy. Me and Sarge in the now arrived in the Charleston area, basically, as far as what I consider the Charleston area, which includes to me like the Francis Marion National Forest, which is a little bit north of town, but it's a place you can camp. They closed down apparently one of the places we used to be able to camp. You can't camp anymore, but this place is a little further away from Charleston, but looks real nice. The Honey Hill. Come here, Sargie. Sargie. Come back, buddy. Come on, buddy. God, good buddy. Anyway, yeah, this is the Honey Hill campground here. It's a free campground. Yeah, so we're just gonna I think first what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go and check out the place we camped last time. I just want to go on a little nostalgia tour of that place, and then. But I heard what online would happen is now you're not allowed to camp at that one anymore. It's more used as a trailhead. Well, you're not allowed to car camp. So basically they figure that if they make you do something like hook up a tent and all this stuff, basically if it's camping in the car is too easy, so you get more like what they consider like the homeless or whatever, right? So anyway, whatever that means. Come here, Sarge. Come on, buddy. We gotta go. Anyway, so we're going to go to the next campsite, me and Sarge here. Okay, so I had to record a voiceover here because there was copyrighted music, but we were having fun here at the camp here. I had the Beatles station going, by the way. It was some older song, but you never can be too sure. There's some nice woods back there where I was able to get some sticks and stuff. You can see Sarge enjoying there. We do manage to get a little bit of fire going there, even though there wasn't a lot of wood there. But, so yeah, it was a pretty nice campsite there. I mean, the main thing was just that I couldn't, since I always was bringing all my stuff with me each time. That was my method. So I wasn't leaving anything at the campsite. Then I couldn't be sure that if I came back at 9 at night or something, that it was going to be that I was going to be camp. But anyway, yeah, this is really just enjoyed that. I threw him a bone on the ground there. The old boy can't see too well. He's going to have a hard time finding it, but I was kind of pushing him on how to get to it. He just enjoyed it. Yeah, he just enjoying all the smells. So it's a nice camp, but because of that, about it being kind of really overcrowded. But then I had a key thing that happened. I found the guide. Okay, Richard. This guy, anyway, he had to help me jump my car. So I met this guy named Richard. But then he told me about this place called Elmwood, which was much better. And he told me that actually I could use that as my base, and then basically start going between Georgetown and the beach up here, instead of going back to Charleston, so it's kind of like a different version of Charleston further up the coast, but a little more chilled thing. And this guy also, he knew everything about, oh yeah, this Walmart, you can sleep there if you want to, this one. Anyway, he just knew this is where you can get water. He just knew everything. So he kind of restarted the whole thing, making it a better situation, And then so he told me about this Elmwood, which was up here. Okay, this is Elmwood Campground, which is close to the Santee River and this other river here, and there's the ocean here. So this is a nice campground. This one, you are guaranteed to always have a spot whenever you get there, at least the way it's set up right now. Close to the Santee River here, and then which is a nice place. And basically, it's one of those spots, at least for now, until they ruin it or whatever, that where it's just any place you can find a spot. It's pretty big too, so I didn't have any problem finding a spot that was pretty isolated. There was actually some spots where some big groups of people got together, and yeah, the stars are very bright there. I'll just say that. I wish it was possible on a camera to show that. Okay, I just drove through here and went around this campsite. What's it called? Elmwood. Anyway, and yeah, it looks pretty good. I guess there's pretty many people here, but there's plenty of other places where you can go to the side or whatever. I mean, that's basically just what we're looking for. So, just some place where I can go into town, hang out for the day, and then just be guaranteed to get a spot, and not have to worry about all of a sudden, come back and spend an hour's driving for a plate, So anyway, okay, we'll get a better view of it later on, but okay, we'll be coming back later on. So anyway, there's big tall trees here, huh? A little bit of a bumpy road you got to go through here, but not too bad. I mean, it might be a little hard on an RV, but probably not too bad. I mean, maybe a Class A wouldn't want to come back here. Ooh, it's pretty big potholes. Yeah, better just go slow through here, huh? Okay, anyway. Right, Sargie? Sarge, if I didn't show Sarge yet in this video. Sorry, buddy.
Hey, Dad, better show me some food soon.
All right, buddy. You're the king. You're the king. Riding Sarge's Highway. The King's Sarge's Highway. Okay, me and Sarge at our new camp here. This is what's it called? Elmwood something. Yeah, in near Georgetown. Just looking for something in my pocket here real quick. Near Georgetown, South Carolina. And yeah, it's lots of space. There's actually a lot of people here, but there's still like lots of spots where if you want to be by yourself. It seemed like I don't know, a lot of the people, it looks like most of the people, I don't know, well, it looked like some of the people might have been from like the same group, because there might have been a big group, because they looked like they had like the same type of tents or something. I don't know, I may just get that idea, but there might have been a couple big groups, but then I don't know. Now maybe there's that big kind of like, okay, there's a big open area, a big circle, and I suppose that'd be easier for like a trailer to get in there. It's actually, that's where it has you can get a really good view of the stars, but that's if you don't have like someone shining their light right out. You got to find like a place, you know, but you could definitely bring a big telescope in there. Let's see. Yeah. So, okay, buddy, just getting ready for a second. Oh yeah, here's Sarge. He's getting a little anxious. You got stuff in here, buddy. You got some snacks. You got, I don't know, what do you want, buddy? Just you relax, okay? Okay. And then, okay, then going up from Elmwood, then just the Santee River, which is, okay, just a little bit down from the campground here is the Santee River. I think this is actually the South Santee. That's the North Santee. They come together, I believe. Anyway, it's an important river. I don't know, it's an interesting river. Just what I was thinking about it is, you can see here, like, it goes up this way, and then this whole area, a lot of it was involved with like the Revolutionary War and stuff like that. Okay, right at the base here. And then if you keep going up here, it branches off and you get into Columbia up here. And now this is a geologic map here, but you can see that it starts getting, okay, here is what we call like this, basically sand, you know, which I don't get too much in the geology, but then it gets more like into hard rock, including there's a pretty hard rock. So basically, I'm going to have a bonus at the end about the missing rock. You can jump to it about one of the missing, if you happen to be in this area, you're like, oh, I really miss seeing like rock, then there's a good adventure you can do up in the Columbia. So we'll show it on a 3D map. All right, and then we made it up, riding up the Kings Highway, made it to Georgetown. Now this is Georgetown, which is kind of like it's a lot like Charleston, but more manageable. It's a little smaller, but it's just as old as Charleston pretty much. And then it does have a lot of industry here, but it's not all that big. And then, you know, you can see the different bays and different, this is mostly the area I was hanging out here. This whole area, this flat area down by the river. One of the parks is called like East Bay Park. And well, anyway, you can just call the whole thing East Bay Park, this whole area. It's a park, even if technically, like, I think that might be called Morgan Park or whatever. Anyway, which has lots of nice historic homes, has a nice area by the bay, including this area kind of like in a swamp area, kind of like that Shem Creek, a nice downtown, lots of marshes and everything. Big area here by the bay. Anyway, just kind of like a little more manageable version of Charleston. And then I decided to remind you again about, the Kings Highway here. That's the Kings Highway, and these were some of the wagon road was out here. Anyway, it's one of the early colonial roads. And this, you can't see it on this map, but it kind of went along here too on this Fry Jefferson map. Okay, anyway. Nice historic homes here.
Turn right, then you'll take your first left into the parking lot.
Although, yeah, we were seeing some really nice ones there before, some really big mansions to see. Okay, well, those are pretty nice, yeah. Yeah, very historic town. It looks like I can probably find some good places to walk through this town to find like some old homes.
Turn left into the parking lot.
But not as
then your destination.
But not as like overwhelming as like Charleston, where you got to worry about the whole like I don't know. It's just kind of too congested driving through like Charleston and stuff. This seems like more manageable, you know, more.
Take your next right into the parking lot.
Okay, so there's the chemical stuff. Okay, yeah, there's some factory stuff. Let's see. Okay, me and Sarge walking down by the river here, or the bay, whatever you want to call it. It's the bay or the river, or whatever. It's a tidal estuary arm of the Atlantic Ocean that's a little bit inland from the coast. All right, whichever this particular body of water is known as. I'd have to look on the map and see later. But anyway, yeah, there's the big bridge coming into town. Here's the waterfront here. Okay, here's the boat launch. Sun setting over this bay here. East Bay Park, Georgetown, South Carolina. Plane going over here. Okay, me and Sarge here, second day in Georgetown area and South Carolina. So now what we're going to do, having just washed my clothes, which took a while, especially because the first time I think I misunderstood what the timer meant and it didn't really do anything. And anyway, so yeah, that was an okay place. I mean, but you know, pretty busy. So now we're gonna go, I guess now first I think we'll go and take a look at the historic waterfront. Okay, some sort of historic house here. And some basic like tourist type shops. Okay. Dog being walked over here. Waterfront there, so you can see like the boardwalk over here to get by the bay there. Harbor Walk. Okay, the harbor. We'll probably say the bay, I guess. Okay. South Carolina Maritime Museum. Old church here. $18.89, 1737. Okay. Oh, John and Mary Percy. Okay, yeah, it's a famous house. Ooh, nice looking old house. Yeah, so a little bit Georgetown, a little bit more of like a manageable, like Charleston or Savannah or something like that. You know, like a little smaller and not as, but you know, same kind of houses for that time period. You know. Okay, let's just let the old green Jeep go by. Okay. Yeah. Here's a nice house there. Okay, now we're down by the marshy area. Okay, but anyway, so you can see that this would be, we're right at like low tide right now, so I don't know if we're going to see much, but basically, yeah, we look a little bit, you can see that you can walk across a big marsh. So at some point, this could be a good place for some filming of the tide coming in. I don't know if, but maybe just, at least we'll go out there a little bit and see what, grass shrimp. So that's, if we see shrimp, that's what they look like, red drum. Yeah, so anyway, okay. So we'll just go down this thing a little bit. coat. Yeah, so you see the river here. It says, beware of alligators. No swimming, do not feed wildlife. Okay, nice place. Okay, yeah, so, oh yeah, come out here, maybe bring some food and water, and then maybe hang out here for a while with Sarge, you know, and then kind of observe the tide thing. Okay, maybe we'll do that one of these days. Okay, let me check the map here real quick. Okay, so I think if we go this way, we'll be heading toward like the tip of like the main like inlet to the city, you know, like where the water. Well, actually, I mean, I don't know if you can even get through here. Actually, let's take a look here. May have to walk on the beach or something. We'll see. Nice, Sarge. You like the sand here, buddy? Okay. Okay, so yeah, this would be like, I guess maybe like during like near the peak of the tide or whatever, where the tide's moving a lot, that maybe there'd be a good flow right in this point. That's sort of like the inlet, or that is not sort of, but that's the main inlet for all the water into the city. So that's possible. Right now we're right at like low tide, so you're not going to see much probably. All right, then the last place we go here was Pawley's Island. But then if you go across the bridge and you go further up here, you end up going over to Pawley Island, which is the beach me and Sarge went to. Okay, so this is Pawley Island. There's the free parking and there's the beach. It's a really nice beach, and it's really good for dogs, especially during the winter time when the rules are more relaxed. Where it's free parking and real simple rules. Just during the summer, they must be on the leash between these hours, and then during the winter, it's pretty much a free for all. Sarge was enjoying it. As soon as I took that leash off, he was just, all right, I'm free, you know, just bouncing, you know. Anyway, he's an old boy. I like to see that he's still got some energy left, you know. Anyway, yeah, it was a nice beach, had a nice like outlet. The only difference is that Folly Beach had a lot of there weren't many shells. That's about the only thing bad I can say about this Pawley Beach. But anyway. Okay, so now we're going up the boardwalk here. Here's the parking lot. It's a nice parking lot. On Pawley Island. Okay. Where actually this time of year you don't actually have to even have a dog on a leash. Got him on a leash for a second. I'll be taking it off in a minute. Got some nice waves coming in today. Okay, buddy. What you doing, buddy? What you doing, buddy? You want to run around, buddy? Go around, buddy. Hey, buddy. Okay, not much for shells here. What do you think, buddy? What do you think, buddy? In the water, buddy. Okay. Hey, buddy. Okay. This time of year, yeah, this beach there's free parking. Dog doesn't have to be on a leash. And yeah, it's just a really long walk here. Okay, little more like toward the end of here. I'm trying to see if there's a place where you can really see like the current is strong, you know. But yeah, this is a great place for dogs down here. Pawley Island. You have like a little ocean place you can go. You have an estuary view. There you go. Interesting shapes here in the sand here. Okay. Let's see.